I suggested preseason that this could be the best front court in the ACC. Turns out my prediction wasn't even bold enough.
This is Tyler Zeller, and you're listening to Locked On Tar Heels.
You are Locked On Tar Heels, your daily podcast on the UNC Tar Heels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, what's up? It's Tuesday, December 23rd, 2025. Welcome into the Locked On Tar Heels podcast, the only daily North Carolina show out there. I'm your host, Isaac Shade. You're joining me at the place to get your Tar Heels content every single day. It's all part of the Locked On Network, now the number one sports podcast network out there. I want to thank you for making us your first listen or watch on this Tuesday morning. And I want to welcome in all our everydayers, all the members of the Locked On Tar Heels Discord, and of course our great insiders as well. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Coming up on the show today, North Carolina absolutely crushes ECU 99-51 to wrap up non-conference play. The Tar Heels are now 12-1. Everything that remains is ACC action starting a week from tonight, hosting FSU. Carolina jumps from 19-16 today in the new net rankings refresh. They are 3-1 in quad 1, 1-0 in quad 2, 2-0 in quad 3, and now 6-0 in quad 4. So there you go. That's where everything sits rankings-wise or net-wise as of today. Coming up on the show, though, we're going to have my biggest takeaway from last night's game, which is, I just didn't even give the front court enough credit. We'll have our Four Corners recap, talking about some Seth Trimble first. We'll have our Schadey Stat of the game and more, all coming up on this Tuesday morning. So I forget the date of it, but this offseason I had said, man, Henri Veesaar and Caleb Wilson, this combination with what they bring, if they are who we think they are, they could be the best front court in the ACC. I said that, and not only should I have said that stronger, I should have made an even bolder declaration. Like, this front court is operating, at least statistically, as a top 5-ish front court in the entire nation. And here's the scary thing for opponents and the great thing for the Tar Heels. I truly believe that they are just getting started. Why? Because they are still learning one another, what they do well. And now they're working Seth Trimble back into the fold. And that just, boom, unlocks everything else. Because Seth's athleticism allows them to both do more. He pulls so much gravity that it opens Caleb Wilson and Henri Veesaar up both. Yes, they'll still see double teams from time to time, as we saw last night against ECU. However, it's just going to make it that much more potent when they swing the ball or do whatever it is that they do. So this front court, truly, truly dominant. Statistically, they passed the eye test. Yes, Caleb Wilson has to hit his free throws. Oh my word, that was painful last night. And he knows it more than any of the rest of us. But you just look at what these two guys are doing, and it's not just about like, oh, every now and again they score and rebound a lot. It is consistent game in and game out. When you look at what Caleb Wilson has done thus far in his young career, he has played 13 games, has scored a double-double has scored double-digit points in literally every one of them, including 20 or more points in each of the last 5 games. 5 games straight with 20 points. Do you know how many freshmen in Carolina history have done that? One other Tar Heel, and his name is Phil Ford, for crying out loud. That's it. That's the list. Caleb Wilson and Phil Ford. In totality, Caleb Wilson now has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 20-point games in his first 13 games in college. Out of that, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 double-doubles. Of those double-doubles, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now 6 20-point, 10-rebound double-doubles. That is absurd what Caleb Wilson continues to do game in and game out. I love how Terrence Oglesby on the call of the game last night called it relentless, which I love, because I remember hearing earlier this season several people say things like, oh, what Caleb Wilson needs to do is give more effort and energy every game. That's one of the knocks on him, and he doesn't get after it all the time. Either he has completely changed or y'all are just dead wrong. Like he heard it and he was like, that's not going to be me, because this dude is relentless, is such a good word for it. And I love that Caleb Wilson does it with points and rebounding, but I love that he's stat stuffing. 3 steals, 4 blocks in the game last night. He is the one that leads the charge in being aggressive and in, whatever it is. There were a couple moments you could tell he was getting frustrated in the first half of last night's game as he was getting hounded. He wasn't getting many calls. Still drew 9 fouls in this basketball game, which is crazy. But then rather than what I love to see was, rather than forcing things, continued to just play and operate and achieve at a high level. Got back to, yes, again, he missed all those free throws, but he did make 5 of them yet again. So now 12 of his 13 games as a Tar Heel, the Ohio State game was the only one he didn't do it. He has made 5 free throws. And then you look at his front court mate in Henri Veesaar, and this dude now has double doubles. Let me make sure I'm not wrong, but 7 of his 13 games as a Tar Heel. And let's remember, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes, Henry too has double-digit points in all 13 of Carolina's games. It doesn't have as many 20-10 double-doubles as Caleb does, but he does have one of them and has put up 26 points in a game. That his 20-10 double-double was 24 and 13. It's crazy, but the thing that he's really adding, Henry, is his ability to step out and knock down the 3. After his performance last night, Henri Veesaar on the season is shooting exactly 50% from beyond the arc, which is it's absurd. 17 of 34. It is not it's not high volume. It's not anything like that. But what he's doing is helping Carolina shoot better as a team from beyond the arc. And when it's your big guy doing that, I don't know what to tell you. 17 of 34. The only Tar Heel shooting a better percentage from 3 is Isaiah Dennis, and he just hadn't taken as many. He's 4 for 7 on the season. Derek Dixon's right up there at 15 of 33, which is 45.5%. That's really good. But Henri Veesaar, of anybody that's taken at least 10 threes, he's got the highest percentage on the team. And so that inside outside, like if you have to respect what Henri Veesaar is going to do outside, I mean, it's over. And then the way that creates driving lanes for everyone else. This front court is so good, and their ability to be consistent game in and game out is part of what's going to make Carolina all the better than they already were. And the thing is not only are they that good, teams just don't have answers for them. They bring a double team, great. Henry's going to swing it around, and Carolina's going to keep moving the ball because they're such a good ball movement team and get a great look. I just do it at your own peril. And the problem is you really need to double team both of them. But as soon as you do that, now you're leaving 2 other guys all alone for the Tar Heels. So good luck. If you look at the ACC, there are 5 players in the ACC that are averaging 9 or more rebounds a game. 2 of them are Tar Heels, Veesaar and Wilson. Nobody else has 2. If you look at ACC players getting 16 or more points a game, there are 13 of them. Carolina, SMU, and Louisville are the only teams with 2 players getting 16 or more points. And the biggest concern that we have had for this team is the backup 5, because unfortunately, James Brown and Zayden High really haven't been able to take the horse by the reins, as it were. But now with Seth Trimble back, that allows Jaron Stevenson to slide to the bench and be that main backup big man, the first big man off the bench. And at least with Ohio State, the only big man off the bench, because Carolina's got now an 8-man rotation, which in college basketball is really what you need. Just 8. Much more than that, and you're not giving your best guys enough minutes and all of that. So 8 is great, and I love it. So Carolina's front court, dominant. Now, as they move into ACC play, we'll see if they can continue to be so, but they've done it, both Wilson and Veesaar, against high-level power conference competition, even in this non-conference part of the schedule. So there's no reason in my mind to expect that they won't be able to continue to do it. Part of the reason, as I said, is that Seth Trimble's return is making everything and everybody better. That and the rest of the Four Corners recap from this ECU game coming up in just a second. Right after I tell you about Game Time, y'all, there's nothing like college football season. Tailgates, packed stadiums, and being right there in the middle of it all. The energy, the bands, the moments that you remember forever. But actually getting tickets, that's the part that used to be frustrating because you had really long lines, you had prices that would jump up at you at checkout, and that's why Game Time is so great, because it's the app that gives the advantage back to you, the fans. It's the easiest way to unlock amazing college basketball and football tickets in just a few taps. You could do that for upcoming Carolina games. Look in the app, just a few taps. It's amazing how fast it is to find seats. The Florida State game upcoming a week from today, by the way, tickets right now, I hate to have to say this number, but you can get in the door for $67. And the app, so easy to use. You can go from browsing to buying in just a few minutes. I also really like Game Time's zone deals. You pick the section you want to sit in. Game Time picks your actual seat and ticket, and then because of that, you save even more. So take the guesswork out of buying college basketball and football tickets this season with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. As we come back, I want to thank you for making Locked On Tar Heels your first listener watch of the day and making the Locked On Network the #1 sports podcast network. You've also heard us talking about the brand new Everydayers Club. If that's you, if you're an everydayer and you're locked in with this show, there's a brand new club that you can be a part of. There are 2 tiers with a monthly price that can get you in, get you all sorts of stuff. You get every episode of Locked On Tar Heels with no interruptions, ad-free, members-only Discord access, and more. You can do that for $5 a month. That's the lower tier, or $50 a year. That link is in the show notes. Let's get to the Four Corners recap. And as we do so, second segment sip, I got a Dude Perfect cup today. Oh, yes. Okay, number 1 in the Four Corners recap. Everything and everyone is better with Seth Trimble back. I cannot wrap my brain around so many people saying, oh man, Carolina's not missing all that much with Seth Trimble gone. What? That's bonkers to say, to make a statement like that. There's just so much that Seth Trimble does to affect winning on both sides. Like Seth so unfairly gets characterized as, oh man, when Seth Trimble returns, Carolina's defense is going to get so much better. And that is wildly true. But to only discuss that is to completely miss everything he adds offensively. So yes, without Seth Trimble, I believe Bruce Thornton has a wild day on Saturday for Ohio State. Without Seth Trimble, I think homie last night for ECU has a great game. Instead, Carolina holds him to 4 of 24. Like, what are we talking about? Poor Riley, man. I felt so bad for that guy last night, but not really, because I wanted to torch him, and I wanted everyone to remember how good Seth Trimble is. But the offensive side of it, man, that's where it comes in as well. I loved this in the live post-game chat last night. Sam Armour said, quote, in the 4 games with Seth Trimble, North Carolina is shooting 38 for 108 from deep. That's 35.2%. In the 9 games without Seth, Carolina was 72 of 219, or 32.8%. Everything is better with Seth, end quote. Sam, this is so true. One of the biggest bugaboos this season is 3-point shooting. We all know that. Yes, I hear you all screaming, but what about free throw shooting? That too. But right now, for this point, I just want to talk about the 3-point shooting. You know what a stats junkie, what a stats nerd I am. I've gone back and I have a spreadsheet where I've looked at every national champion in the 64 team to 68 team era. almost without exception, I think it's like all but one, have made at least 35% of their three-pointers. And the vast majority of them have made 36. So Carolina with Seth Trimble, and I hear that it's a small sample size, it's 4 games. But with Seth, Carolina is hitting that 35% threshold that you have to get to have national championship aspirations. Without him, 32.8%. And yes, I get that that's not, it doesn't seem like that many percentage points lower, but over the course of a season, that's a ton. That's a ton of missed threes. So what Carolina is doing with Seth from beyond the arc is great. He also impacts things like fast break points. In the 4 games leading up to Seth's return, Carolina had a total of 22 fast break points. In the 2 games since he's been back, Ohio State and now ECU, Carolina has 27 fast break points. So 5 more fast break points in the last 2 games than they had in the prior 4 games combined. That's crazy. And it's not just the team. Like, that's just a couple stats to show you. It's not just the team that's better. Seth is somehow better himself. Like, how does he come back and not really have any rust and just boom, hit the ground running? 3-point shooting. In the 2 games that Seth played before getting injured, he was 0 of 7 from 3. In the 2 games back, he's 4 of 8. So it's not just his team that's shooting better from 3, it's Seth as well. Again, small sample size, but 50% since coming back. This one is blowing my mind. Playmaker Seth, wow. This season, he has 15 assists to 5 turnovers. That's a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, but it's jumped in the 2 games back. He's got 8 assists and 2 turnovers. That's a 4-to-1 assist to turnover ratio. And if you look at what he's done for his career, as the assists went up, the turnovers have gone down. Seth's freshman year, his assist percentage, 11.2. Sophomore year, 8.9, so it dipped. Last year, 7.8, dipped a little bit again. This year, Seth's assist percentage is 23.1. That's crazy. And his turnovers each year of his career, 25.4% to 11.9% to 9% to this year, 8.2%. Obviously, we got to wait and see how those all play out season long. But man, you just see Seth, his own game improving, and everyone else around him. A rising boat lifts all, or a rising tide lifts all boats. That's what Seth Trimble is doing to affect this team. So my goodness, welcome back, Seth Trimble, and we're glad. Four Corners recap point number 2. Rebounding battle in this game was interesting. Carolina did beat ECU by 6. It was 48-42, which is crazy. That means there was a ton of missed shots, mostly by ECU, because Carolina shot 54% from the field and 48% from 3. So Carolina won the rebounding battle, but the concern for me was that they allowed ECU to get 20 offensive rebounds. And some of it, like as you watch the game, you kind of felt it in real time, was a ball would come off and Carolina just, it was like they had a hand on it and couldn't corral it. There were at least 5 or 6 of those. I didn't go back and watch it, but you felt it if you watched the game. So ECU got 20 offensive rebounds and just 22 defensive rebounds. So Carolina allowed 20. But here is the thing that was encouraging about that. Carolina themselves got 15 offensive rebounds. So, hey, love that. Great to see it. But even though Carolina trailed offensive rebounds by 5, they doubled up ECU in second chance points. So points coming after an offensive rebound. Carolina had 16 second chance points to ECU's 8. So while you don't love all the offensive rebounds you gave up, you love that you were able to kind of keep ECU at bay while being wildly efficient Carolina was with their own offensive rebounds. Really good stuff there. Point number 3, turnovers. Carolina was back up into double digits, not far, 12 turnovers in this game. And as a reminder, they had been so good. 5 of their previous 6 and 4 in a row prior to this game had single-digit rebounds. 8 against Michigan State, 12 against Kentucky. That was the outlier. And then 9 Georgetown, 6 USC Upstate, 7 and 7 ETSU and Ohio State, 12 in this one. But here's the thing that's encouraging to me. Carolina on the season has never turned the ball over more than 13 times. That's so consistent. So they've been between 6 to 13 turnovers in every game. And so much of that is how many great ball handlers they have. Or they've got Kyan Evans, they've got Derek Dixon, they've got Seth Trimble, they've got Luka Bogovac. And each of these guys are locked in doing things. And that even leads me to say, yes, they had 12 turnovers, but a lot of them were from the front court. Caleb Wilson had 4. Veesaar had 2. So that's half of your turnovers right there. Nobody else had multiple turnovers. The others were 6 single turnovers from 6 players. And that's great. And when you look at those main ball handlers, each of them had a great assist to turnover ratio because Carolina, once again, had 20 assists on 34 made baskets. Seth, 5 assists to 1 turnover. Derek Dixon, 3 assists, 0 turnovers. Luka Bogovac, 2 assists, 1 turnover. Kyan Evans, 1-1. And even Jonathan Powell had 4 assists to 1 turnover. So when your main backcourt guys are doing those kind of things, it's going to put Carolina in a great position to win. And of course, in this one, it was a little bit higher possession game. They scored 99 points. Carolina took a whole bunch of how many shots were there? Field goal attempts. Yeah, 63. And so kind of commensurate with where they've been. They had 63 shot attempts against Ohio State as well. So actually maybe not that much more high possession game, but encouraged by that. Carolina did really well. Last thing in the Four Corners recap. One of the critical things that Carolina had to do in this game was defend without fouling. That was the strength on strength in this game, because we've discussed how good Carolina has been at, not only has their defense been phenomenal this season at so many, both now the eye test, I think even more, but also the metrics suggest it. But part of that is that Carolina was only committing 15.2 fouls a game. And you're like, I don't know, is that good? Well, think about it. A team gets into the bonus if you foul them 7 times and a half. 15.2, if you divide that in half, which I know it's not going to divide evenly in the midst of a game, but that's 7.6 fouls per half, basically. So you're barely getting a team into the bonus game in a game out at that number. So Carolina came into this game 34th nationally in committing just 15.2 fouls per game. However, interestingly, on the flip side, ECU was drawing 20.6 fouls a game, which was 34th also in the nation. And so Carolina critically needed to continue to do what they did. And so in a game like that, you're like, okay, kind of you're shooting for the average. Can Carolina commit like 17 or fewer fouls to kind of be in between that 15 to 20? Well, they did better. 13 fouls committed last night. So Carolina not only didn't fall prey to fouling ECU a ton, they were lower than their own really good average for the game, and that's great. And so I wonder if that, let me see if that number has updated where Carolina is in fouls per game. Let's see. Stand by with me really quick. Let's see where it is now. Personal fouls committed. Carolina has fallen to 15 fouls a game, 30th in the nation. So that's really good. And as I'm looking at it, this also reminds me, Carolina, we just talked about turnovers, is committing 10.1 per game, which is 35th in the nation. That's really, really good. Turnover percentage, though, explains it without tempo. Yeah, 14.6 turnover percentage, 37th in the nation. Carolina doing really good. And by the way, I didn't say it, but while we're talking about that defense, Carolina now is allowing their opponents 63.5 points a game, which is 16th in the nation. It's absolutely crazy what Carolina continues to do on the defensive end of the floor. All right, we got to get to our Schadey Stat of the game. We got to wrap the show. We're going to do all that coming up here in just a second. Right after I tell you about FanDuel. Y'all, NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. And honestly, live betting is best when the game starts to get crazy. There's a receiver that gets hot. There's a massive turnover that changes the whole trajectory of the game. And what's cool is that FanDuel lets you jump right into that moment. There's live spreads, there are money lines that adjust instantly. Player props, they go up when that receiver heats up. You can bet on who's going to score the next touchdown or what the result of this drive is going to be. And that keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. How about some Wooden Award updated odds? Cam Boozer at Duke leads the way at -135. followed by BYU's AJ DeBansa at plus 300. Yaxel Lendeborg at Michigan is plus 1,400. But now Caleb Wilson has moved all the way up to being tied for fourth in FanDuel's Wooden Award odds with Braden Smith of Purdue, the preseason National Player of the Year, at plus 1,600. Really cool stuff from Caleb. But if you think he can keep ascending and ultimately win that award, you want to get in and be right in the middle of the action this season. Do it by visiting FanDuel.com and placing your live bets with NFL all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, so can you. It's time for the Schadey Stat of the game. I'm drinking out of a Dude Perfect cup, and I'm rocking my son's Dude Perfect sunglasses. Speaking of those NFL numbers, if you were with us in the live postcast last night, you know I was talking about I was struggling in my fantasy matchup. I was in the fantasy championship of my fantasy football league, and you guys, I cannot tell you how many times this has happened in my life, but I lost 154.4 to 156.6 by like 2.2 points. Literally, I've never won the fantasy championship in football. This is me, always the groomsman, never the groom. All right, it's time for the Schadey Stat of the game. We talked about him earlier in the show. But Henri Veesaar, the stat of the game, 4 of 5 from beyond the arc. And he started 4 of 4. The one he missed was later on in the game. And we mentioned it, but the stat of the game, yes, 4 of 5, but the season, this dude is 50% from beyond the arc, 17 of 34. And so, yes, it's a low sample size, but for a 7-footer to step out and do that, I cannot wrap my mind around how good that is and how different it is for anything Carolina has ever had. Yes, there are big guys that if they were playing today would have hit it at a higher level. It's just they absolutely would have. Like Pete Chilcutt, we've had him on the show multiple times before. In the NBA, started shooting more threes, and he was hitting them. So I think, somebody like that. But man, Carolina just getting it in such a good way from Henri Veesaar. And let's remember that for his career, he's made a couple, but he's never done this. Let me get back to his overview page. In first year at Arizona, Henry shot 27.3% from beyond the arc, 3 of 11. Last season at Arizona, 16 of 49, which was respectable, 32.7%. And I was hopeful for that. I was like, if Henry could hit 35% of his threes, that would put Carolina in a good shape. It would draw a lot of attention from either Caleb Wilson operating in the post or just get everybody outside the arc and allow a lot of driving lanes for Seth Trimble and everybody else. And I'm not saying that Henry's going to stay at 50% for the season, but man, if he could stay above 40, like if he could be 42, 43%, he's already made one more three than he did last season in 15 fewer attempts. And we're not even to the halfway point of this season. Carolina has played 13 games. They've still got 18 ACC games, and then whatever postseason opportunities they have after that, probably at least 2 ACC games. Right now, they're definitely trending toward being a top 4 team, so they would have a double bye. And you could play as many as 3 games, but let's say Carolina plays 2. Let's say they make it to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. That's at least 3 games there. So you're looking at probably 23 more games. Carolina's played 13. I'm really, really curious to see how this 3-point shooting continues to adapt and evolve for Henri Veesaar. Will it continue to be a weapon, not only for him, but for Carolina? Because they're like the big from ECU last night. Forgive me, I forget his name. Let me look it up because he was great and I want to honor him. Yes, Giovanni Emejeru. This dude was a load. By the way, I don't know if he's got any eligibility left, but if you do, sir, I would like to see you as a Tar Heel next year. He was really, really impressive. But you saw it. He's not used to having to step out and guard on the perimeter like that. And while, yes, he bullied Henry a couple times, it was offset. by Henry's ability to step out and knock it down. And that is a weapon that Carolina needs to go to the well on over and over and over again. I said it after the Ohio State game. There were multiple opportunities I thought Henry had to pull from three that he didn't take. Shoot him, big man. Shoot him, because the big Estonian is doing it game in and game out. And I can't wait to see how he does it in ACC play. That combo of he and Caleb Wilson, it just keep it going, boys. The water's fine. Come on in. You know what I'm saying? All right, you guys, great to be together here on this Tuesday morning. We are going to have shows throughout the rest of the week, recording with Coach Rob, recording with Joshua Marlowe. Going to be some super fun shows here on this Christmas week. I'm grateful to all of you who were able to be with me here on Tuesday morning. To those of you listening or watching back later, what's up to each of you? So glad you're here as well. If you want to get notified whenever we go live on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed to the show and you hit that bell notification. It'll let you know when we go live. Also, be subscribed on the audio version. You're probably traveling for Christmas or something like that, and you want to be able to listen to the show on the way. Download it and watch it on YouTube. It all helps spread the love of the show. You guys, if you've not joined our brand new Everydayers Club, we'd love to see you in there. That link is in the show notes, as is the link for the Locked On Tar Heels Discord. It's a great way to get locked in and involved even more with the show. It's always a great day to be a Tar Heel. We'll be back with you tomorrow. We'll talk a little Bobby Petrino. What's up with that? But until then, peace.